the 5th. Hello and welcome, everybody, to the weekly Shonen Jump breakdown for the week of March 5th, 2018. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sick, and that's why this is so late this week. But that's okay. We're gonna keep on trucking anyway. We're gonna make our way through it. You guys know that sick tray is just even more fun than regular tray, right? So this week we start off with Jujutsu Kaisen. Ryomen Sukuna is the name of the first chapter. It's a pretty interesting idea. The occult club is having some issues, and you have Takagi cheating to try and steal Itadori from the occult club. But Itadori is a little OP, and it's probably my first biggest problem with this, is that he's a little OP before anything happens. Like, if it had come to that the curse that we find out about later was affecting him already, then yeah, that would have made sense, but he's very strong, he's very fast before it even starts, and Grandpa tries to tell him something about his parents, which means there's going to be a big info dump later on, which, honestly, before Bleach, I didn't have a huge problem with that, but now after Bleach, I do have a huge problem with that, so that was a big sticking point for me while reading this. Other than that, though, the art is great. The art looks amazing. I really like the more rough style that it has, and the curses look really cool. It's kind of what I wanted the yokai that pop up in some of the other series that we have in Jumpstart. It's kind of what I wanted them to be like. So that was really cool. My cats are fighting right now. Play fighting, but still fighting. So his grandpa straight up dies, and Itadori has a real rough day here, because his grandpa dies, and then his friends are in trouble, and he meets this guy, Megumi Fushiguro, who wants to help him out, but man, it's just not a good day for Itadori, because he winds up, and obviously I'm jumping ahead, but he winds up eating this cursed finger to give himself curse powers so that he can fight back, and he does wind up killing the thing that's trying to kill his friends. But I feel like I'm all over the place, and it's because I can't focus because I'm sick. But this all comes to a head with Fushiguro going to attack him at the end of this chapter to purge him of this curse that he put in his body. There were a couple of really cool call-outs that I wanted to make, despite the fact that, again, I still feel like Itadori was a little too OP. Him jumping through would you stop? Him jumping through a 4th-floor window was really cool. I thought that was really interesting, not to attack the thing, but just to save his friends. The scene where the curse was eating his friend's head, I was like, okay, yeah, that's sick. And to find out that his friend was okay after that, it was like, okay, wow, yeah, that's really impressive, actually. Divine Dogs, where he had to do the whole hand thing, like this, to do it. I won't lie to you, I spent a little bit figuring out how to do that right after I read the chapter. But then the Divine Dogs were summoned, and that was really cool. I think we can all see where this is going. The power is going to be able to be controlled by Itadori, and Fushiguro is going to wind up bringing him back to the school that he went to, which I assume is the Jujutsu school, the Jujutsu Kaisen, and he is going to learn the way of Jujutsu there to be able to exercise these curses. I think that's pretty clear. That's where this is going. And good on Fushiguro, one, for actually understanding why Itadori wanted to help him, but bad on Fushiguro for just showing up at the hospital and finding him and being like, hey, look, I know your grandpa just died, but you got to give me this thing back. Like, it's a little rough. It's a little rough, buddy. Also, the moment where the hand comes through the floor to grab at Itadori, and Fushiguro takes the hit instead, that was really cool, because it didn't just break through the floor, it extends the floor, as if it was coming out of the floor, which it was, basically. But that was really cool. I really liked that. So next up we have One Piece 896, One Last Thing. The mirror's still surrounded. Sanjian putting say their farewells, and she takes the cigarette out of his mouth, and it's unclear if she kisses him and wipes his memories, just kisses him, or just wipes his memories. One of those 3 things definitely happened. I'm thinking it was probably the first one where she kissed him and wiped him, because that seems like a very pudding thing to do, to wipe his memories of her so that she can get away and so that he doesn't have to feel like he needs to come back for it anytime. Which, if that actually is how it happens, a comment that's made later on in this chapter will be really interesting when Sanji shows back up at Whole Cake Island later, when Luffy comes back to take on Big Mom, and he doesn't remember her. So that'll be pretty cool. The final blow landed, kind of, and both combatants, Luffy and Katakuri, fall. We get to cut to Capone, and we get to cut to the crew concerned about Luffy, but Luffy gets up, and so does Katakuri. And Katakuri asks Luffy if he'll be back. And Luffy tells him that he will, because he's going to be the one that's king of the pirates. Katakuri then tells him that he's looking quite far into the future, and falls. Then Luffy takes off the fedora that was on top of his straw hat, and puts it over Katakuri's mouth so nobody can see his fangs. There's so many things in this part of a chapter that I want to talk about here, where you have Luffy, completely respected by Katakuri now, who is not asking, are you going to come back and be a threat? He's asking, are you going to come back? Because he wants to fight him again. He wants to see him again. They have become almost friends over the course of this fight. And honestly, to Katakuri, Luffy is probably the closest thing he's ever had to a friend. And Katakuri's comment about Luffy looking quite far into the future is a clear evidence that Luffy has figured it out from this fight, how to basically use the observation haki, the color of observation that Katakuri has. And then for Luffy to leave his hat, the fedora anyway, not his straw hat, on top of Katakuri's mouth to cover it up so nobody sees it. Man, the respect levels here. This is Senior Pink and Frankie all over again, but cranked up to 11. This is great. After that, Mistums, definitely not Peckums. No, this is Mistums. Shows up with Brule, because he doesn't want to let Pedro's sacrifice be in vain. And, Luffy recognizes him immediately, which, has led to some fun discussion as to whether or not Luffy has been faking we knew Luffy wasn't the complete idiot that people think he is, but Luffy recognized him immediately and didn't recognize Usopp. Either way, I really liked it. And then, the final 5 minutes have arrived. Sanji's gonna have to fight soon to help Luffy get away. And that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be awesome. Next up, we have Blue Exorcist 99, Beyond the Snow, Part 8A. The Kamikakushi Key, Mephisto explains, we'll let Ren go back in time. Would have been really nice if Yukio could have had it. And then Mephisto tells him that the future that Yukio wants or the power that Yukio wants isn't in the past, but Ren's is. Even though that's all that Yukio ever asked for was the past. But Mephisto talks about how he's a demon, so he does whatever he wants anyway. We get to see everybody else trying to deal with the demons being everywhere and attacking everything, and how they're all scrambling to defend, but it's not going well anywhere at all. Everybody is being pulled out to go fight, but Shimmy's awake, so there's that. All in all, this chapter was kind of a setup chapter, and it was fun, but not a lot really happened other than it was important to see a look at the populace, but we spent a lot of time with just like newscasters and text alerts and all kinds of stuff, so we kind of already seen a lot of that stuff before. I don't know. Anyway, next up we have Dr. Stone 48, Blades of Science. We get some info on the katana, and that they are more than enough for the shaft that Tsukasa's men are using. But Hyoga's in the class all his own, and he disarms Magma easily. Gin tries to help him out, and, it's not going very well. But Kinro gives Kohaku a boost, where she jumps off of the blade of his katana. Fine. And Hyoga was ready for it, and is about to stab her through when his spear falls apart because Gin had tampered with it. We get a quick flashback of Senku sending Suika to give Gin a metal knife that Gin had used Houndsberry, which is his favorite flower, to lay the path so that she could find him. And then Gin jumps up on the side of the bridge again and throws out some more Houndsberry and explains that in the language of flowers, it means liar. It's the perfect flower for him. Gen's a great character. This was a really fun chapter. Hyoga doesn't even seem upset. He seems proud that he was outwitted like this. So, Hyoga's going to be a really interesting character in the future. I'm very excited for him to be around. But his spear has fallen apart, so he will be most likely retreating. Unless he's got some crazy hand-to-hand moves that we don't know about yet. But, no, this was a really fun chapter. It was a blast. Gen is a lot of fun. Especially that cut to that panel of Gen's smiling when he said to get the jigs up. Like, oh man, so good. Next up, we have Robot Laserbeam 47. Here comes the star performer. Robo's even more the talk of the town now after his argument with Don Okuma. We get to meet the 7 masters, Nurarihyon Daijuro, Kurogane, Sota Karasuma, the Wedge Wizard himself, who does not look happy, by the way, Rin Tachibana, Genro Kuze, Sosuke Yakumo, Gakudo Saiki, and Hayato Fuda. We find out that Okuma has rigged it, where that if Robo wins any of his matches, he goes up against another one of the 7 masters, which means at some point, if he keeps winning, he'll have to go up against Karasuma. His first match is a Genro, which is way sooner than I expected that to be. Did not expect that at all. Pretty interesting, though. I'm excited to see that match so quickly. And then, of course, the chapter, it finishes off with Suzaku showing up, which is amazing. Very excited for Suzaku. If it seems like my chapter descriptions are a little more brief this week, I'm sorry. I'm definitely still trying to give it 100%, but a lot of these chapters were very short this week, so. Next up, we have My Hero Academia 173. Prepping for the school festival is the funnest part 2. Mirio shows up with Eri, and people think he's his kid. He doesn't really seem to want to correct him that much. It seems like he's enjoying himself. He also tried to surprise everybody with a full moon joke, and of course it doesn't work. Class B is doing a really cool mashup play. And then you have Monama's handler isn't around, which is a really fun gag where somebody else has to move in. And he's like, hey, no, I'm sorry. His handler's not around. She's busy with a beauty pageant. And that segues us over to Hado, who's going to be competing in the beauty pageant. And she's going to try to win. So this is her last chance to do so. We get to see Sundowner again. Or Sun Eater again. I do that every time. But there's not really that much talk between him and Mirio. It's clear that they're still getting along fine, so there definitely wasn't an argument or anything. But that's not really something that we're spending a lot of time with right now. I really think their relationship is one of the most interesting, and I would love to see conversations between them after Mirio has lost his quirk, but, we haven't had any of that yet. We get to see Hatsume is doing her best. We see Shinso and the others working hard. Eri's starting to get excited. Mirio's super proud. And then we also get to see Nezu fighting for the festival with the police, that he wants the kids to be able to get along with everybody. He wants them to be able to stand tall. He doesn't want this to stop them. He wants them to be able to be themselves and enjoy their school life. And, that's really, really great. Nezu is a character we don't know a lot about, but getting to see him stand up for the kids like this, it was really good. And then, Izuku gets kicked off the dance team. So, probably a reason for that. Most likely he wasn't getting the moves right, or they have something else planned for him. But, still. It was a pretty funny moment where he's all excited telling Eri that he's going to do his best and then kicked off. So, next up we have We Never Learned 53. Sometimes the Proximal is X is green and quick. Uruka's having some trouble. And Kobayashi is curious when Yuiga and she got on a first name basis. It's good to see Kobayashi again, by the way. Kind of funny that when we see him is right after he's hooked up with Umihara. And they catch Yuiga and Uruka catch them kissing on a bench. They take the next bus because they, don't want to take the bus with Kobayashi and Umihara and let them know that they saw. And they talk a little bit about Yuiga kissing Ogata, which is good that that's been brought back up because that accidental kiss feels like we haven't mentioned it in a while. Yuiga falls asleep and dreams of Uruka kissing him. But did he fall asleep? Or was that actually what happened and she's trying to hide it? We'll never know. Actually, we'll probably know really soon. It was most likely just a dream. But the next day, Kobayashi and Umihara tell them that they're dating, and we get all that actual information out and about. And, they have to act surprised, which is pretty funny. Again, not a lot really happened in this chapter. We got a little bit more movement of side characters, and we got a little bit slight progression with Yuiga and Uruka. But for the most part, this was a setup chapter for Kobayashi, that's how words work, and Umihara's relationship and how it will affect Yuiga and the other girls as we move forward. Because Kobayashi is a good friend of Yuiga. So, I'm excited for that. That's pretty cool. Past that, we have Hunter x Hunter 376, Determination. Hawkenberg still wants to see the king. Benjamin and Camilla are on the trail. And Muhan is dead. Not trial. That's how words work, Trey. They're on trial. Which actually leads me to a lot of questions. First off, I get why they won't let Hawkenberg in. It's because they know what he's trying to do. But why are Benjamin and Camilla on trial? They're princes. So is this judge able to preside over princes? Does that mean this judge is also royalty? I get that we've mentioned trial multiple times before, but I didn't expect the princes could be held on trial. Either way, it's kind of cool. That surprised me. Muhan being dead also surprised me, but Belarante's there, and he's still a beast, talking everybody down. He borrows Bill so that he can talk to Bisky and Hanzo without people thinking he's crazy, since he'll be talking to an empty hallway. And we also get to see Melody working hard with Mosquito and Morse Code to help Caddy. So there's a lot still moving, but it still feels like things are moving very slowly. At the end of this chapter, though, we get was probably the most interesting part, which is where the princes are starting to understand their abilities a little bit more, each one of them, and starting to test them out and play with them a little bit. And Seraph does the water divination. Seraph has the most messed up looking water divination I've ever seen. So Seraph is definitely very powerful and very scary right now, because his powers are not only completely unknown to us for the most part, but they're dangerous. So, I'm excited. It's a lot of fun. Next up, we have Food Wars 253, True Gourmet. Senzaemon sets the challenge, a 2-course meal with no theme ingredient, but a gourmet multi-course meal. Azami throws shade at Erina, tells her that, she doesn't know what a true multi-course meal is. She tells him that his precious daughter has become a runaway and a delinquent. Azami tells the 2 judges that he brought with him that Erina is contaminated, and he requires her for what he's trying to do. And then we get a cut to everybody in the kitchen, and Kuga has to pare it down because there's too many people in there. Too many cooks, you might say. And he decides to keep Ishiki, Megami, and Takumi to help out Erina and Soma in their planning. They begin their final prep work. And we cut to the next day, where Rindo will be doing the appetizer, and Tsukasa, who feels sharp and clear, the main dish. And that makes perfect sense. Tsukasa's the number 1 seed. Of course he'd be doing the main dish. We find out that Erina and Soma have yet to decide who's doing it, and they do a rock, paper, scissors. And Soma gets the appetizer, and Erina gets the main dish. And, it's funny how well the 2 of them work together now, after how badly things went at start for them. And of course, they're going to make the perfect team. So I'm very excited for that. This was a really fun chapter. Definitely enjoyed it. Next up, we have The Promised Neverland 77, The Foolish Weaklings. Luvis smiles, which is super creepy and awesome and amazing. And we get to see all the other kids, the things that drove them on over the course of the time that they've spent here at Goldie Pond, the people they've lost, and the fight begins. We get to see that the demon that was being carted around by his underlings, he's excited because he thinks these kids don't actually know what they're doing. But the kids are slowly chipping away at the subordinates until they can get past the masks to their eye stalks and killing them. And eye stalks, eyes. I guess they might be eye stalks, we don't know yet. And the tide changes there. They remove his mask to kill him, but there's a moment where they hold off so they can taunt him, and I have a bad feeling about that. I think Luvis is probably going to show up anyway and just massacre him. But either way, this was a really cool chapter, showing that the tactics are there, showing the kids' desires and what they've lost to get there, showing that their hatred doesn't just come from the fact that they're stuck here, but from true loss, and that they are on Lucas's team of all demons must die. So, really, really good chapter. And of course, as always, art was on point. Black Clover 147 is next, an end and a beginning. Julius leaves everything to Yami, tells him to take care of it all, and regrets that Marx is going to be mad at him, and that he won't be there to see Fuego Leon wake up. What I really like about this the most is that Julius Novachrono has been a character that hasn't had a lot of consistency in the way that he acts, And the only reason he hasn't had a lot of consistency is because we haven't spent a lot of time with him. So sometimes we see him almost dark in the level of exactness that he uses. And then sometimes we saw him just happy-go-lucky, goofy, playing around, excited about magic. And we couldn't get a good grasp of his personality other than just, well, those are two sides of him. But now, as he's dying, he tries to tell Yami about how Licht had a spell that could hurt everybody. He tells Yami that everything's being left to him. He regrets that Marx is going to be upset at him. And he's upset that he won't get to see Fuego Leon wake up. This was a man who truly cared about his people. And he cared about his friends. And he doesn't regret that he's dying. Or that he won't get to see any more cool magic. He regrets that he couldn't be there for his friends. And that's a good thing for Julius. That cements his character in our minds. And yes, he's dead now. But now we know him. And so now his loss actually means something. So often people use these death moments to just have, oh, hey, yeah, this character's dying. It's so sad. Let's have him, grab somebody's hand dramatically. But this time, Black Clover used it to explain to us who Julius Novachrono was. And I really liked that. It's, as usual, Black Clover moves at 100 miles a minute. And we're not having the problems that we have with some of the other arcs in some of the other series. It is just, and Julius Novachrono the Wizard King is dead, so, oh boy. Yami salutes him, and we get to see Julius's grimoire fade away. That question has been answered now, as it just dissipates. Which means most likely it shows back up in that library that Asta and Yuno went to, or to a library somewhere. But either way, that's a good scene. Could it have been more impactful? Yes. If we had known Julius before this and actually got to know him, this would have meant more. But it was still pretty well done, I think, despite how badly the fight was done, I think. After that, we get a really weird scene where Yuno and his group arrive in a room full of light with a figure floating in it. And when Licht sacrifices the Eye of the Midnight Sun members, that figure awakens. By the way, Licht sacrifices the Eye of the Midnight Sun members. Poor Sally, she's gone. Not poor, I mean, she was kind of a jerk. But that's what they get for trusting a guy who hates humanity. When they were humans. At the same time, this figure awakens, and Yuno doesn't seem to want to move away. And, man, I gotta address this, because it's a really dumb thing. A lot of people are going, oh man, Yuno's gonna get seduced by this power. Yuno's gonna become Sasuke. It's like, no, we don't have to, Black Clover takes a lot from a lot of things. We don't have to compare it to Naruto all the time. Yuno probably saw that as a challenge and is gonna stand against it. But even if he just thought the light was beautiful, Yuno is not gonna just let himself be seduced by the dark side here and become a villain. He cares too much about his people. He cares too much about his friends. He cares too much about his rivalry with Asta. He's not Vegeta. He's not Sasuke. At that same time, could Yuno be brainwashed? Yeah, absolutely. Any character can be brainwashed. Nothing ever seems to stop that. Even Professor Xavier's been brainwashed before. The point is, he could get brainwashed, but Sasuke wasn't brainwashed. Sasuke chose to do that. Vegeta wasn't brainwashed. He chose to do that. Yuno is not that type of character. I just want to address that now, because it bothers me when I see people going, oh, no, it's Sasuke all over again. There's literally not a thing that says that that's going to happen. Nothing in there goes, oh yeah, no, he's gonna join them now. At the same time, maybe Yuno's related to Licht. He does have the four-leaf clover, and the emblem that was on that figure's head kind of looked like the four-leaf clover, so, maybe in some way he's related to him, a descendant or something. Who knows? But I just don't see him just joining up with him. I could be wrong. Maybe I am. I know a lot of these, people are probably jumping on this because Julius Novachrono has died, and now Yuno had this moment where he saw this light and didn't leave. And in Naruto, spoilers, third Hokage dies, and then Sasuke leaves the village. But I don't see that at all here. If I'm wrong, well, so be it, but I don't see it at all. Then we have Seraph of the N66, Shuttered Shinoa. Everybody moves into action to try and help you, and to fight off these things that the angel has summoned. And Kimizuki asks why they have to do this. Guren says it's because they're alive. And Kimizaki asks, should they die then? And Gurren tells him that if he dies, so does his sister. And that's enough for Kimizaki. And that's a really good moment in all this, where normally these you just throw your characters into battle. Having Kimizaki now, at this moment, ask why they keep having to do this is pretty good. Then we shift focus to Shinoa, who is admiring Yu's persistence, and her demon tries to goad her. And she deflects everything it brings up about her family, about herself, until it brings up Yu, and, her feelings for Yu, and then she falters, and it opens the door. And, I think we're going to get to see a power-up from Shinoa, though she may also become uncontrollable. We'll see. I'm excited, though. Shinoa's a fun character that we haven't spent a lot of time with lately. So, we'll see how that goes. There's also a call-out from the demon that Shinoa's the same age now that her sister was when her sister was sleeping with Gurren. So, that was interesting. I kind of forgot that relationship existed, because Shinoa's sister is dead. But, hey. A lot happens in this manga. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything. So now we'll move into the lightning round. Jujutsu Kaisen 1, Ryomen Sukuna. It was a fun chapter. I'm going to be completely even on this one, because I really don't like that Itadori is already so powerful before he even eats the finger, because it tells me that there's something going on with his parents. And he shuts that down. He just says, I don't care, every time it tries to get brought up. So we won't know until it gets brought up. And, at some point you think he would at least have had that conversation. But, it's fine, I guess. The Divine Dogs were really sick, and the hand moving down through the floor was really sick. So, sure, I'll give it a dead even. One Piece 896, one last thing, 2 thumbs up. Luffy Katakuri, the relationship that's built between them, the friendship that's built between them, the rivalry that's built between them. Very excited to see how that moves into the future and what happens with Katakuri and where things go. Blue Exorcist 99, Beyond the Snow, Part 8A. I'm going to give this one a dead even. Because I felt like we did get to see a lot of the populace's reactions and stuff like that before, and this one kind of felt like it was just trying to hold things up so that we could get to the next one, set up the last few things we needed to set up so that we could go back to the past with Ren, and honestly, I'm not that interested in the past plot line, but, who knows, maybe it'll surprise me. Dr. Stone 48, I'm going to give this one 2 thumbs up. The fight with Hyoga was really cool. Gin finally showing his colors was really cool. Really enjoyed it. Lots of fun. Houndsberry. Robot Laserbeam 47, here comes the star performer. Give it 1 thumb up. It was nice to see all these interesting 7 masters, and then also getting to see Suzaku again. That was really cool. Want to know what's going on with Karasuma. One of my favorite characters. Seemed a lot sadder this time. Didn't seem as happy as he was before. We'll find out, I suppose, though. My Hero Academia 173. Private for the School Festival's Funnest Part 2. Gonna give it a thumb up. We didn't get a lot of plot progression, but what we did get is a lot of setup for further in this arc, and it was a lot of really good setup. With the play, and the beauty pageant, and Hatsume Mei making stuff, and Shinso being around, and the police and everything. There's definitely, all of those things are going to wind up being important over the course of this arc, and that was really, except maybe Shinso. That one felt a little reachy, but for the most part, I'm very excited to see how it all works in. So yeah, it's really cool. We Never Learned 53, sometimes the Proximal X is green and quick. I'm going to give this one a 1 thumb up. Getting to see Kobayashi and Umihara have a relationship and the way that it's going to affect the story as we move forward. I'm excited for that because their relationship is definitely going to push some of the other relationships to get to moving. So, that's pretty cool. Hunter x Hunter 376, Determination. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a thumbs up too because Bellorante was really sick. The princes are figuring out their abilities, and Sarid was super creepy at the end there, and that just felt like that felt like an old school Hunter x Hunter chapter end, and I was super excited for it. Food Wars 253, True Gourmet. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a thumbs up as well. This was a really fun chapter. Looking forward to the competition that's about to begin and getting the callback from Soma about how Arena didn't like or loved his food but couldn't admit it early on. And then also the call out from Arena about how she is now a runaway and a delinquent. It's really cool. I like their relationship a lot. And I'm really looking forward to how they work together again as a team. Promised Neverland 77, Foolish Weaklings. 2 thumbs up for Luvis' smile, for the fight, for the cliffhang, and for getting to see these kids and the stuff that they're carrying, the baggage they carry around with them everywhere. Black Clover 147, it ended in the beginning. I'm going to give this one 1 thumb up, mainly because Julius' death was so well done. So well done. I really liked it, actually. It wasn't perfect. It definitely could have been a lot better, but for what we have, it was very well done. Very impressive, especially after how bad that fight was. So, Seraph for the N66, Shuttered Shinoa, giving it a thumb up as well. The conversation between Kamizuki and Gurren alone would have got that thumbs up from me, but then also having like the focus shift to Shinoa, who's a character that we really don't know that much about. All in all, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully I won't be sick. Hopefully it'll come out sooner with another episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown. My name has been Trey. This has been The Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum the Jump has to offer.